And I am not surprised by anything, considering I now find out that you order paninis. So that what is a panini?
It pretty much just a damn just a damn sandwich.
Oh,
that's
so
a fire ass bread.
So a waste of time is what we're getting at here. Okay. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into NASCAR by the Nonsense. We said that correctly. We thought about it. We were kind of tired of numbers. We have more fun when we're having fun.
Let's rephrase that statement. We're not tired of the numbers. We're just dumb as fuck, okay? Yeah, we don't know how to count.
And we're pretty bad at math, to be honest. So we're going to just have some fun. We're going to make the shows. They're going to be a little bit shorter. We're just kind of talking about what had happened, emotionally reacting. You might see Armany cry. Probably not, but he does eat paninis, so he probably does have a feminine side. So the whole point is we're going to laugh. We're going to talk racing. We're going to talk all that, whatever kind of crosses our paths in between. That'll be it. So, Armany, what's been up? What you been up to?
Same old. Just waiting for the Coke 600, which I asked my job, can I get these couple of days off to go up to Charlotte? They're like, nah, fam. We good. And turns out, like last week, I find out, oh, yeah, we're going to give you the 600 off, but just the 600. It's like,
that's rough.
I love my job.
Obviously, I try to go to this race every year. Last year was the first time I'd missed in 4 or 5 years. So now I'm back on tap. But
let's fucking go. Turn up in the chat. Let's go.
But next year, I'm thinking about going to the Indy 500. So that would spice things up. That would definitely be different. Because obviously I couldn't go to both unless Robbie Gordon wants me to get on a private jet with him. Maybe Montoya will hit the double. We'll fly with Montoya into Charlotte. Other than that, it's not going to happen because we just physically wouldn't have time to go. But biggest race on the planet this weekend, and we're not talking about the 600, even though the 600 is a crown jewel. Indy 500 this weekend. We didn't even plan on talking about this, but what are you feeling? I know you have off, so you get to watch it. You got any kind of gut feelings who you're thinking of picking this weekend for the Indy 500?
I already know I'm going to pick. I think it's going to come down between Rossi, Dixon, and Herta. I'm going with Colin Herta. I think he's going to win the Indy 500.
I had a feeling about him, too. I don't follow IndyCar. This is usually the only IndyCar race I get to watch. I don't know if I'll get to watch it. I hope I do. Usually Charlotte plays it on the big screen, so hopefully we can get there in time to see it, at least see the last 40, 50 laps. I've had a feeling about Herta. Dixon's going to be hard to beat. I didn't realize Dixon had only had one 500 win. I thought he had more than that. So that's kind of crazy. But then I've always got there's the girl that's in the field. I don't know anything about her, but it's cool when you have a story like that. Montoya with the NASCAR connection. Would love to see him go out and win. I believe that would be his third. Then you got a guy like Elio who's chasing like his 4th or 5th 500. Then a guy like Ed Carpenter who's been chasing this thing for 20 years and never won one. So it'd be cool to see a guy like Ed Carpenter win one. Just stories like that. Marco Andretti. I think this is the only race he's even running this year. And, the redemption from a few years back. Then you've got J.R. Hildebrand, the real redemption from 2011, where he made the biggest bonehead move in IndyCar history and lost the 500 off the last corner. That 2011 was a crazy, crazy year. Whatever idiot decided to move Monaco, I have no clue what that decision was. But now nobody cares. I don't even know if F1's racing this weekend. So
they're not.
So, but anyways, we had a cool race that happened this past week. Things got a little bit wild. Things got a little bit crazy. We know who finds victory lane, who takes care of business. All right, when business.
About damn time.
And
damn time.
Hey, my guy got as many wins as your guy. That's what I thought. So, first thing. So this past weekend was NASCAR's Cup Series first true rain race. But a lot of people in the sport and fans, including myself, learned there's a little bit of difference between rain racing and monsoon racing. So visibility was a major issue. In fact, we had one wreck where it was literally like the All-Star of 2001. Every time the camera turned, there was another destroyed race car. You get a wrecked race car. You get a wrecked race car. This guy has a wrecked race car. This guy hit this wrecked race car. And like it was just 4, 5, 6 cars just kept looking. Kevin Harvick's destroyed. Bubba, Christopher Bell. I can't remember. I think there was one or two others. They could not see in front of them. And then Cole Custer just goes full send and just destroys Martin Truex Jr. What are your thoughts about this? What are your unsolicited feelings? You're not holding anything back. Was NASCAR stupid here? Were the drivers stupid here? Was it just a bad situation? How you feel?
You see, I loved it. Very rarely do we just get a race where it's a shit show. So when the shit show happens, I love it. Not only just from the fact where it's like, oh, hey, Cole Custer just decided I'm just going to go full send into Truex, or, there's a spin out every other lap. You got Chastain pretty much going all the way to the grass every time he comes out of a corner. But it just, even like the storylines, I mean, think about it. We probably would have came out of COTA if it was just a regular COTA race. It's like, oh, yeah, we definitely need to come, just the typical stuff. Oh, we definitely need to come back to COTA. Chase Elliott finally won, after 20 years. But no, we got the rest of these storylines. We're like, oh, what should NASCAR do with the rain racing here on forward? You got people like Harvick, which we'll get to later. You got, like I said, Custer and Truex. You got all these storylines that were just able to come up. I mean, again, NASCAR's never done this before, so you can't really expect it to go pitch perfect. But I personally loved it. I thought it was awesome. It was just something that we've never seen before. And in my opinion, just because I love chaos, it was beautiful. And what the hell is your ass doing with that ruler?
So NASCAR,
put that damn ruler away.
Racing in the rain, it was a mix of emotions. Because part of me, this is what we've been baking for. NASCAR fans, regardless of what happened, this is what we've been baking for. What we wanted. We wanted it to rain in Charlotte last year at the Roval. We want this. We want that. We always want calamity, and we finally got calamity at the Cup Series, which is very, very rare. But you also don't want to do destroying cars and potentially getting injured. That's where you have to draw the line. So I think, you had the big wrecks and everyone's, oh my God, we've got to cancel the race and we should never do this ever again. But then we have a great 40 laps of racing, or I guess 30 laps for whatever, it takes an hour and a half to run 30 laps around there.
Facts.
They were awesome. I mean, guys were slipping and sliding, making time, losing time. The rain was impacting the race, but not ruining the race. They could still see. You had decent visibility. So, there's just – I think we all have to learn and then Armany forget to pay the light bill.
Facts.
We have to learn, racing is great when it's either light raining or the track's wet, but I don't think it can be a downpour. I put on Twitter, and I did this for all three of our topics. I pretty much said, NASCAR made some crazy decisions to race in pouring track. What are your thoughts? So Steve Elmore said it's easy to call after the fact. It was a good learning experience for everyone with the increase in road course racing and the possibility of running wet tires on some ovals. We need to find out where the boundaries truly lie. I say we chalk it up to good R&D and move on. It's a little risky because, when you ask a guy like Martin Truex Jr., does he think we got good information? He's going to say we just totaled a completely freaking race car. Yeah, great R&D. We just destroyed a whole race car. But it is true. You have to do it. How'd you get Luke Combs?
Facts. I got the connection, man. I got Luke Combs on the show.
Yeah, me and Armany go way back before my music career.
Facts.
But it is good research to learn from, and I think people forget that. You have to sometimes take those risks to know if they're going to work. And if that didn't happen, you know what we would have heard? Why didn't NASCAR put rain tires on? Why did we cancel the race because of rain? I thought we were supposed to be rain racing. NASCAR needs to go rain racing one day. So people are going to bitch and complain regardless of what happens. And so to that point, I do agree. We had one other comment on that particular thing. And it just said, Jason Zabransky said, wet track racing, probably okay. Active rain racing, probably not, which is what we were kind of talking about a second ago. The racing, once the weather kind of calmed down, it was great. It was good racing. It was entertaining. Guys were everywhere. You had guys coming for the lead, losing time. I mean, it was just fun. But yeah, I mean, I think that was it's a good learning moment. NASCAR had to kind of put some egg on their face for a little bit, but that ultimately led to the decision to call the race, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, pretty crazy and definitely some calamity. And kind of transitioning to our second topic, coming out of that calamity, we had a very notable defending Cup Series champion had some very harsh words. Kevin Harvick said this was the dumbest decision they have made as a sport since he has been involved. and is the most dangerous he has ever felt inside his race car. So, how do you feel about that? I'm sort of on the fence. I get where it comes from, but I sort of also disagree with part of the statement. What say you?
I think it was handled poorly. The thing is, I do think that NASCAR should handle it better, like with the raining and everything. They probably should stop the race sooner. I don't think we need to go to the point where we just stop rain racing altogether. This is the first time that NASCAR has done this in like its 70, 80-year history. So, of course, you can't expect it to go pitch perfect. Could have gone better. Of course, it could have gone better. I mean, we had half the field nearly damn destroyed. It looked like Daytona or Talladega out there. But I do think NASCAR is going to learn from this, hopefully. So when the next rain race happens, whether that's Road America or Sonoma or the Glen or whatever, that'll probably go a lot better. I don't think it needs to go to, the sense where Harvick is saying, where it's like we're back in the days before safer barriers. It's like someone's going to die on one of these things. So I think his comments were a little too heavy-handed. But then again, the drivers usually know the best when it comes to these races. And again, we're not on the race cars, so we don't really know what the conditions were out there as best as they do. So who knows? Maybe it was that dangerous. But just from seeing it from the outside perspective, I think NASCAR, what they need to do was they just need to learn from this, take whatever they thought was good, take everything they thought sucked, and then just build on that from there.
The part I agree with on Harvick is any the driver's feeling safe. That's pretty notable. Kevin Harvick's been doing this for 20 years, 20 plus years. And usually I respect what he's got to say, and he knows what he's talking about. He is an ambassador for this sport. And what they were doing was pretty stupid, to be running that hard in that kind of weather when you cannot see. These are not sports cars. These are big, heavy cars, not even supposed to be on road courses. I mean, it's just you add up all the things. The other half, the unsolicited side of what I want to say is you got to quit crying over it. Like, we're going to learn from this. Like, I understand. And so I agree with him on the safety aspect. I disagree with the whining and complaining. And we don't need to rain race. We don't need to. These cars aren't built for that. We aren't this. We aren't that. Like, every other major sport runs in the rain. I don't know if IndyCar run in the rain, but I do know we both know notably F1 in the rain. IMSA runs in the rain. I would assume V8 supercars run in the rain. I have no clue. Outside of asphalt, short track racing, and dirt racing, you don't run in the rain, obviously. But every other notable asphalt road course racing series runs in the rain. Ovals is a different story, but road course racing, literally, we're like the only asphalt road course racing series that does not run in the rain. And it kind of blows your mind. And so part of me is like, we can't sit there and we're the best drivers in the world. But it starts raining, and well, I'm getting out of the car. I don't get paid enough for this. It's too dangerous. Like, strap in the race car. You're getting paid millions of dollars. You'll figure that out. Everybody else figures it out. And that's another part. It's like, I understand the danger, and Harvick was in a really shitty situation, but there were also 25, 30 drivers who didn't wreck on Sunday. And, it's a lot of it's circumstantial. Most wrecks are circumstantial. I think you have to listen to Harvick. We have to get better at it, and they'll get better, whether it's a mud flap gain, whether it's this, whether it's that. They'll figure it out. But Harvick was a little exaggerated. I mean, who knows if Harvick would have that same opinion today? Knowing him, he probably would. But you don't know. Going to the commentary of this, I pretty much said Kevin Harvick had harsh words for NASCAR's decision. What are your thoughts? Debbie at Debbie227 said he's not wrong. The spray was too bad to see through. It's like they needed mud flaps or maybe just not race in torrential rain. #dumb. Steve Coville, he said he was right. What else is there to say? Even Scott Miller knew NASCAR got it wrong. Brandon Brodnack said he agrees with Harvick. Miles DeMonster, one of those, the kind of the parody account, said it's kind of hard to disagree with him, to be honest. And then Stafford the Goat said one of the slower motorsports, and yet are incapable of racing in the rain. Still say they have the best drivers, even though stock cars are probably easiest to race in the rain. Yes, they should have better wipers and better and brighter light, but if they can't race in the rain, they can't race. I'm going to partially disagree with that. I think stock cars are probably one of the harder cars to drive in the planet, because even though to me I think F1 is the toughest because they're so good at the top, it's so hard to win in F1. Like, F1's like a BMW compared to like a truck built in the 70s. I mean, it's a BMW is going to do anything you want that BMW to do. It's going to take every corner the way you want it to take it. That truck, you got to put some wheel in it. You go too fast, you got to whoa it down. You got to slow it down. It's not made for this. Indy cars are the same way. They're big go-karts. What say you on that comment? They're saying if you can't run in the rain, you can't race, period.
I don't like that saying. I mean, it makes no sense because, like, how are you going to say a stock car is so easy to drive? But yeah, you got a bunch of these drivers, you know, like Danica Patrick or Sam Hornish. They come from, you know, F1, IndyCar, whatever, and then they can't do jack diddly squat. I mean, that's just the easiest thing to say. And again, with the rain racing things, because it's just rarely happens, especially when like 90% of the schedule is on an oval. You want to try racing in the rain on an oval when you're in this kind of banking, and the car's just going to slide down like that, or they're going to go like 40 miles an hour. It's just going to make no damn sense.
I think it's the same guy who said, you think a bunch of rednecks have been working on race cars for 60 years would know how to make windshield wipers work. Oh, that's good. I mean, you know, I think NASCAR's proven time and time again that stock cars are hard. There's a reason Juan Montoya can go out and win the Indy 500 in his second start back, can go win Monaco and only gets 2 wins in NASCAR in his entire 9-year career. It's kind of just how it is. So I don't know. I think it's pretty crazy that somebody would think that stock cars are so easy to do this or to do that. I definitely don't think they're the easiest things to drive. Again, now the beginning of that statement, like I said, me and you would probably agree with, like, if we're going to sit there and say we have the best drivers in the world, you got to go be able to race in any condition. You can't sit there and be picky and choosy. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm scared to do this. I'm scared to do that. You know,
we got to go have a nice race at Martinsville.
Right. We got to go have a nice race at Martinsville. And, but yeah, anyways, Harvick, we have to agree with you, but you also kind of got to just nut up and race if this happens again, because NASCAR's got to figure it out. Like, this is a huge thing that attracts fans, crazy storylines. And if we're the best drivers in the world, well, let's goddamn be the best drivers in the world, son. Let's strap in and nut up and go race in the damn rain, son. So, but anyways, so our last kind of thing tonight, and I'm trying to find, I had a tweet on this earlier. I haven't been able to find it again, is that, you know, my guy, the champion, the defending champion, he found victory lane again. To set up the situation, we had been running, and they decided to shorten because visibility again. The rain had gotten heavier and heavier and heavier. They decided to shorten it. Chase Elliott, everybody knew he was going to run out of gas. They threw it with 14 laps to go. Then there was kind of the conspiracy that they kind of do this to save Chase Elliott from running out of gas, even though the track was getting downpoured on. Professionals in the sport say it was the right decision before we say us, or before I say mine. What say you? Do you agree with them shortening the race? And do you think NASCAR was playing a little bit of favorites up front?
First of all, before we get into it, 13 races in. Finally, one of our dumbasses finally gets one of these race picks right. I picked Chase Elliott to win, even though I literally dogged on him last episode, and I was like, I'm going to pick him. Finally won a race. Only took him, like I said, like 20 years. Finally found victory lane. But the one thing I never get about, I would believe, here's it. Chase Elliott is NASCAR's most popular driver in the NASCAR circle. But Chase Elliott winning the championship or winning races just doesn't get the same publicity as someone like a Bubba Wallace or Daniel Suarez does. I would believe it more if they rigged it for, let's say, Bubba Wallace or someone like a Daniel Suarez, because that will give NASCAR more international or national publicity. Exactly. If NASCAR rigs a race for Chase Elliott, and let's be honest, no one outside the NASCAR fans is really going to care because no one really knows who Chase Elliott is. So that argument of, they rigged the race for Chase Elliott, at the end of the day, it doesn't really benefit them because it's like, okay, Chase Elliott won. What do you do?
Do you agree with them shortening the race? Take out the winner, any bias. Do you agree with them flagging the race at that point?
I think they should have done it sooner. I mean, I'm glad they did it before, better late than never, but they should have done it sooner. But yeah, I agree with it.
I was surprised.
Even though It snubbed my boy out of a potential road course win.
Corey, I'm sure he was going to finish second now anyway. So
facts.
Even leading on the final, he's at it again. Kyle's at it again. Me, at first I was bummed because it looked like they had been in that same weather for like the last 5 to 7 laps. And so obviously I'm not there, you're not there. People that are there said it was the right decision. So that's what you listen to. I haven't heard one person say they should have kept running. But on TV, it looked very similar. And TV's hard to show rain, obviously. Their cameras are zoomed out. You're not going to see little raindrops every so you go. But it looked like it was the same weather. So I was really shocked. I really wanted them to go back green because that restart would have been freaking nuts. And then obviously at that point, it had sort of saved Chase Elliott's fuel situation so he could really go up there and race for the win. But in terms of – so I guess in terms of shortening it, I hate rain-shortened races. I think everybody does. I'm fine with it because Chase wins. If not Chase wins, I still probably understand it. I don't like getting wins that way. I almost would have rather him not win that race because I hate rain-shortened wins. And I think the chatter you hear from fans about it. I'm going to say this. If you think NASCAR's rigging races, you're an idiot. It's just you're stupid. Could there sometime be decisions that are leaned towards a driver or two? Maybe. Dale Earnhardt Jr. clearly went below the yellow line. I think it was in 2003 or 4 at Talladega. They never made a decision. If Regan Smith was Jeff Gordon, he probably wins that race at Talladega in 2008. It's just there are certain things that we've seen that tend to fall a certain way. But so many examples of NASCAR not full on just like, I'm going to make sure something happens here so this guy wins. I mean, talk about the struggles Dale Jr. had in his career. Jeff Gordon not winning the championship in his career. NASCAR literally had the biggest golden story ever. Jeff Gordon, final season, can win the championship. And they were like, nah, fam, he ain't going to do it. And he didn't do it, which would have been the biggest NASCAR story in probably since the death of Earnhardt Sr. Would have been the biggest NASCAR media hit is Jeff Gordon, the GOAT, argument for another day, winning his 5th championship in his final race that we know of, obviously ended up filling in later on. And hell, if Gordon wins that title, I don't know if I'd agree to come back if I was him. But yeah, Dale Jr. never won a championship. Danica never won a race. Bubba hadn't won a race. Bubba hadn't even got damn close to winning a race. And so, it's a frustrating thing to hear about it. That's one thing that I hate about rain-shortened wins because you always, imagine a guy like Chris Buescher. His only Cup win was a rain-shortened race at Pocono. I don't even know if he counts himself as a Cup winner. Most people don't. I mean, he is because the history book will always have him as a Cup winner. But when that's your only win, it's like, man, I don't know about that one, dog. I don't know if I'd be bragging about that one, dog. You might want to just go ahead and take that one off the resume, my guy.
I don't know. I still get the trophy. I still get the money. I'm like, shit, I'm a winner, baby.
Yeah, I'm a winner, baby. Looking at some of the comments, John at I Support MTC says people were complaining about the rain with big accidents. Now they are saying that they're playing favorites. They just love to complain. It seems they are never happy and find some plot to complain about. Very correct. We both know this. Hell, me and you like to complain and bitch and moan every single week about NASCAR's decisions. And we love the damn sport. But even us, you could find gaps in it. But I agree. I mean, there was a lot of two-facedness. Even I can even admit me was a double standard because, part of me wanted to say, man, these drivers have to learn to adapt. Like, if you're the best in the world, go adapt. Let's not baby these drivers. But at the same time, you're like, man, Cole Custer just damn near murdered Martin Truex Jr., and you're like, we can't just have guys doing that. If they truly can't see past 2 foot of their nose, what the hell are you racing for? You wouldn't allow that at any level of racing, grassroots, national, doesn't matter. So that's very true. You're going to find something to complain about regardless. Brandon Butler, he says, OMG, I'm so sick of hearing this nonsense. I had a friend who flew from New York to Texas to see the race, and he said NASCAR called the race because they lost the entire track, not just the backstretch, and also because COTA has no lights, they had to make a decision. Very true. People forget by the time they were going to drive that track, you were borderline. It was pouring at the time. We knew they didn't have to dry the track fully, but I imagine it might have been another hour and a half before they could fully kind of get it raceable to where it's safe and we're not murdering each other on the backstretch. They were also going to run out of daylight, so that's a very notable thing. It was already dark all day. A couple more comments. No, the right call was made. Chase was in front, so be it. And then that was from John R. And then Cup Central, which is at Cup Central. Of course they did, but no point in complaining about it, just how it is. So they seem to think they were playing favorites there. I don't know. I think it's always a debate. You always hear the flirt. NASCAR rigging them races. NASCAR is rigging them races. But we know that the favorites are played thing, but at the same time, if NASCAR really wanted to rig these races and really wanted a media hit, Bubba Wallace goes out and wins the Coke 600. Actually, he would have won the Daytona 500 in a brand new race team out of North Carolina. So what say you on this whole deal? I mean, I know you kind of hit on a second ago, but it's got to be frustrating knowing that we're fans of motorsports. It's got to be frustrating because you don't hear this anywhere else, right? Like, I don't know. Does Formula One have this? Are there ever any calls where you're like, if that wasn't Lewis, that's probably a different call?
There are. I mean, Formula One, there's a saying where Formula One will either do things specifically for Ferrari or they'll do things specifically for Mercedes. Like, the Formula One's by the FIA. So they're literally sometimes called the FIA, the Mafia, the Ma FIA. Like, I remember back in 2019 where Ferrari was accused of having a legal car and the FIA investigated it. Pretty much them and Ferrari apparently settled the deal behind closed doors and no one else was about to know about it. So they was allowed to know about it. So that they were like, oh, that's because Ferrari, they've been in the sport since it began. And there's other times, they'll say like, oh, they'll let this happen because like, oh, it's just Lewis Hamilton. So, they always want him to succeed. They want him to break all the records. So this does happen in other motorsports too. And it's not like even NASCAR is just immune to, wet weather, especially in road courses. I believe it was 2018, the IndyCar race at Barber Motorsports Park. I think that one even got postponed a little bit due to rain. So it's not just NASCAR that has these problems with, rain races. Even series like IndyCar, Formula One, that have been doing it for so long, even they have some problems sometimes. So, it just happens with everyone, but we just got to remember, this was NASCAR's first ever rain race. So they're kind of just figuring this out on the fly. Or the Cup Series.
The Xfinity Series boys did that about 10 years ago, and Ron Fellow said, I got this, dog. The Xfinity guys had no problems. A couple of them spun and did this and did that. But see, what was fun about it is rain road course racing makes you remember regular road course racing, what it used to be. Like, it used to be that half the field didn't know what the hell they were doing. Like, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin were up front, but Dale Jarrett, you would have an over-under how many times Dale Jarrett would end up in the sand pit. Like, it's happening at least twice. You know what I mean? And there's at least one car is just getting destroyed at some point. Then one of the road course ringers who swore they were going to do something, he ends up crashing like the first 4 laps. Then you have some Robbie Gordon comes from 17th to 4th in 10 laps. And it kind of reminded you of that because it was so out of nowhere. And these guys were slipping and sliding. Tyler Reddick spins. Brad Keselowski, I don't even know if he was at the racetrack. That might have not even been Brad driving that car. That was all over the place. But it was fun. But even Dale Jr. talked about it when he ran an IMSA race back in the day. He said they rode around under caution for like 3 hours. Like, they couldn't race in conditions. They had to keep the cars moving because it's the 24 hours. But they couldn't go racing. So I don't know. But there we have it. Actually, no, we don't. We got one last thing. Race picks. Who are you picking? I'll actually be at this week's 600. You were supposed to be, but then you bailed on me.
What's up, Danny?
What's up, Danny? So who is your Coca-Cola 600 race winning pick?
All right, I'm choosing between 3 drivers. I got 3 drivers in mind.
I'm choosing between 40 drivers. All right, I got an air 40. All right, but I got 10 I'm picking.
I'm going to go with, out of the 3, last time this happened to a certain driver where he's finished in these amount of positions in a consecutive fashion, he went on to win the very next race. My boy Kyle Larson is going to win the Coca-Cola 600.
I hope that's not the pick. I hope that's not the pick you thought was going to be wild.
Oh, no. Stay tuned for that one.
Oh, thank God. I thought that was this week. I'm like, is this dude really thinks Kyle Larson who's finished 4th like 4 times or finished 2nd like 4 times is a shocking pick? I can see him doing it. If Hendrick could stay on the streak they're on, which you can't really tell because Dover's really its own unique monster and the road course is just the road course. But I could see them. I think they qualify this week too, I believe. I think they have qualifying. I could see them being up front. I could see Kylar flirting with the lead and winning the thing. Of course, he'll probably choke after about 550-mile mark, and they'll lose the race off pit road, or he'll get up into the wall and do something, and somebody else will bit past him. But yeah.
All right, who's your pick then?
My pick, I just went out on a whim because I was like, damn it, I hadn't picked anybody yet. This guy's actually had probably his 2 worst finishes back to back, 19th and 35th. And that is the driver who's going to win at his home track, Martin Truex Jr. is going to win. I believe this will be his second, might be his third Coca-Cola 600.
His third.
I always remember I was at the one where he dominated and led 476 of 400 laps. And I was at that race. I'll always remember that race. That's probably why I've picked him like every year since, because I'm like, Martin Truex is going to win this thing. So I'm going with him because I think they'll have a bounce back week. They've had back-to-back rough runs. And Martin's really, really fast this year, and it just feels like that kind of thing where you kind of like, maybe Martin's having problems. And then, Truex wins the 600.
Remember, boys, fellas, this man over here said that he would never be the same without Cole Pearn. This man right here.
I did. So far, he's not.
And he's over here.
He's not a champion.
He's got 3 wins. Most out of everyone.
You know what is championship worthy? My hair. It is looking flawless right now.
Yeah. Okay.
You eat fucking paninis. I mean,
because they fire. Because their paninis are fire. That's why.
I'm with a luxury sandwich. I'm a prick.
Go get some damn Wawa.
That must be some Florida stuff right there. South Carolinians make their own damn sandwiches. Or we go to Subway.
So, man, y'all boring. That's what's
Anyways, I'm getting out of here. You getting out of here. We getting out of here. Coke 600, I'll be there Sunday. Indy 500, obviously. What time they go green? Like noon?
Something like that.
Biggest race in the world. Huge deal. So that'll be fun. Hopefully I get to catch some of it. We'll see. He picks Colton Herta. I don't have a pick. I just got a handful of drivers I'd like to see win. When I saw he was starting like top front row, I was like, I can just see, because he's like the young phenom, right? He's only like 19, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's the young phenom, and he just has that feeling to him. The young phenom, and he's just going to do it, and it's going to be the most impressive thing in the world, and he's going to be the next guy, and it's just I have that weird feeling. So we will see. Hopefully it's an exciting Indy 500. Hopefully it's an exciting Coke 600, even though it probably will not be. We will hope for that. So with that being said, we're getting out of here. See you next week.
See